Welcome to the explainer. You ever see an ad that makes a promise so wild, you just have to know how they're selling it? Well, today, we're pulling back the curtain on a program that claims it can make you taller, yeah, long after you've supposedly stopped growing. We're going to follow the breadcrumbs here and see exactly how they build this whole case, turning a common insecurity into what they call a scientific solution. All right, so let's just start at the very beginning. This right here. This is the hook. I mean, it is perfectly designed to stop you in your tracks if you've ever felt insecure about your height. It doesn't even bother with logic, you know? It just goes straight for that deep down belief that growing taller isn't possible, and it just kind of whispers. But what if it wasn't? So how on earth do you make a promise that big feel believable? Well, you don't start with science, that's for sure. Nope, you start with a story. The whole narrative immediately pivots to a really personal problem, because before they can sell you a solution, they have to create an emotional connection. And here's our hero, a neurosurgeon, which, immediately screams expert, but he's also a worried dad. This dual role is absolutely crucial. It's designed to make us trust his authority, while at the same time, we're sympathizing with his very human motivation. This is where the problem gets real. See, it's not just about height anymore. It's about humiliation. The story says her boyfriend actually mocked her, and she blamed her bad genes. All of a sudden, this isn't just a physical issue. It's a deep-seated emotional wound. Okay, so now that the emotional hook is set, the story takes a pretty sharp turn. It grows from this personal quest into something much, much bigger, with this little hint of conspiracy. The message shifts from just, hey, here's a problem, to here's why you've been kept from the solution. And, every good story needs a villain, right? And here it is. The big, faceless, multinational corporations. The narrative claims they're hiding the truth just to make a buck. This is such a powerful move because it totally changes your role. You're not just a passive reader anymore. Suddenly, you're an insider, someone who's about to discover a huge secret. So with the conspiracy set up, it's time for some science. And the picture drops this very specific number. 35% of your height is in your spine. Now, whether that's accurate or not is almost beside the point. The number itself just sounds authoritative, and it makes the spine the logical target for a fix. Next up, the pitch tackles the biggest objection head-on, growth plate fusion. It actually acknowledges this biological fact, the one thing we all know stops growth. But by doing that, it's masterfully setting the stage to reveal its secret for bypassing this supposed point of no return. Okay, this is a really clever move. Before they even present their own solution, the pitch goes on the attack. It just systematically dismantles every other potential fix you might have heard of. I mean, just look at this list. It's basically a hit list, isn't it? Chinese potions, HGH sprays, supplements, even hypnotism. They're all just dismissed, completely wiped off the table. The goal here is pretty clear. Create this scorched earth of other options, so their product is literally the last one standing. It becomes the only logical choice left. So with all the competition totally eliminated, the stage is set for the big reveal. The pitch is finally ready to pull back the curtain on the secret scientific solution they claim was kept from you this whole time. So what is the secret? Well, it's really a combination of two big things. First, you're targeting the spine with exercises, which connects right back to that 35% number they planted in our minds earlier. Second, you're naturally boosting human growth hormone, or HGH, with diet, exercise, and sleep. And, for good measure, they throw in a mention of NASA to add this layer of high-tech credibility. And just like they did with the spine, we get another big specific number, a 300% boost in HGH. They claim you can do this with simple amino acids and some homemade meals. This makes this solution feel both incredibly powerful and, honestly, surprisingly easy. And this is how they really seal the deal on the how. It's not some complicated textbook. It's a simple, step-by-step video routine. This packaging is totally designed to remove any feelings of being overwhelmed and just make the buyer think, hey, I can do that. All right, now we're in the home stretch of the pitch. The product's been revealed, so the whole focus shifts to overcoming any last-minute doubts you might have and really pushing the buyer to make a decision. And of course, we get testimonials. But notice the genius of this one. It's not just, hey, I grew 3 inches. It's my confidence went through the roof and I got a girlfriend. That's the real payoff. It circles all the way back to the emotional pain of Angelina and her boyfriend, promising a solution to that exact problem. The pitch is basically trying to read your mind at this point. It anticipates the biggest single thought that might be holding you back. But I'm too old, my growth plates are fused, and it just puts it right out there in an FAQ. And the answer they give? A resounding, absolute yes. No hesitation, no maybe. The goal here is simple. Completely vaporize your biggest doubt and remove the last major barrier to you clicking buy. The promises are then quantified. It's not just some vague "you'll grow taller," it's a super specific minimum of 2 to 3 inches in 6 weeks. These numbers aren't just claims, they're designed to feel like a contract, like a guarantee. And finally, we get to the price. This is such a classic move. They show you a high price first, just to anchor that number in your head. Then they slash it, making the real price seem like an absolute steal, something you'd be kind of foolish to pass up. The pitch closes with this final triple threat of postscripts. First, the story of Angelina gets its happy ending, a huge result. Second, there's a warning that the low price won't last, creating urgency. And third, a money-back guarantee that removes all the financial risk. It's that final push to make saying yes feel totally easy and safe. So there you have it. It's kind of a masterclass in persuasion when you break it all down. It kicks off with a deep insecurity, brings in a villain and a secret, and then just one by one, methodically dismantles every single reason you might have to say no. It is an incredibly powerful formula. And it leaves us with one last, really crucial question. When marketing gets this good at tapping into what we desperately want to hear, how do we separate the promise from the actual proof?